Paul Yeoman here, owner of the Basement Fitness Center here in Volant, PA. Last week on episode 1 of the deadlift, I showed you guys the basics. This week on episode 2, I want to show you guys the sticking points and how we're going to be able to work through those. So let's go check it out. Alright guys, so just like you saw last week, we're going to approach the bar with about a hip to shoulder width apart stance. Now, one of the most common sticking points, I mean, it's obvious, you know, the first one here, if you can't pick the weight up off the ground, so say I'm exerting as much force as I can't pick this bar off the ground, simply, you're just not strong enough. But the only reason I'm addressing that sticking point is some people think that there's a reason why they can't get it off the ground. Plain and simple, you're just not strong enough. But now let's say we get the bar moving off of the ground. So this next sticking point here, we get this bar off of the ground, we push, and it's about halfway up, and I'm stuck here, or I'm shaking, and my hamstrings are shaking like that. A lot of the time we're out of position, and a lot of these sticking points I'm going to show you guys are almost similar. So with that second sticking point there, about halfway up to 3/4 of the way up on a shin, usually you're out of position. I'm a little too far over the bar, and what you're going to want to do is make sure you sit back more. So if my shoulders are way over the bar, in all reality, I'm using all back to pull it up. And that's going to be kind of similar here in this next sticking point too. So in other words, to get through that, we're going to want to sit back just a little bit more. But another common sticking point for you conventional guys out there would be right about at the knee. So we're going to do that. We're going to pull it up, or right about here, and like I just can't pull through this sticking point. A lot of the time, my back is rounded over, and once again, I'm over top of the bar. I'm not sitting back, back's not nice and flat. So in order to get through that sticking point, we have to hit your position with a nice flat back. Now, a little bit of curvature in your upper back is normal. Don't worry about that. It's not going to be perfectly straight, especially with maximum effort and maximum weight. So with that one, we want to sit back a little bit more, okay? Get through that position. So I'll show you guys actually here. When I'm sitting back a little bit more, shoulders are over the bar, I can pull, and now I'm in a good position to just pull that bar right up my thighs. Now while I'm here, I'll show you guys the next sticking point. Usually that's about halfway up the thighs, and I just can't. I'm shaking, you know, or we start hitching the bar up to get it. A lot of the time, once again, upper back is rounded. You're not able to accelerate the bar anymore. The bar decelerates. You have no more leverage to pull the bar and keep it accelerating to full lockout. So, like I said, with each sticking point, those positions are key, and like they all kind of mold together. But you want to make sure you're sitting back against the weight. You want to make sure your back's nice and flat. You definitely want to make sure you keep the bar accelerating all the way to full standing locked out position. All right, guys, so do you get a better idea of what I mean by sitting back and keeping the back flat? We're going to give you the side view here. So just to kind of touch base real quick on what I mean about being out of position versus being in good position, I'll show you one bad rep here, and then I'll show you a good correct rep. So get up to the bar. Now I'm way over the bar, as you guys can see here, like my shoulders are way out over the weights, and then when I go to pull, this bar is actually going to escape, and then I'm going to be pulling it back, and just like this, see how my back's rounded, and then it's hard for me to get my shoulders back to finish the rep. Now, if I sit back on my heels, get my hips back a little bit more, now shoulders being over the bar by a little bit, that's normal, okay? But what we want to do is sit back just like so I can push through the floor and the bar comes straight up, nice and smooth. So it's a nice straight bar path. So that's the difference there versus rep 1, that's how you're hitting those certain sticking points. Rep 2, that's going to help you go through those sticking points. All right, you guys, so I'm going to show you my 2 favorite exercises that are going to help being able to accelerate the bar all the way to complete lockout, and then hopefully work on some of those sticking points about half to 3/4 of the way up here on your deadlift. So right now I have a 55-pound bumper. It's about 2.5 inches up off the ground. This is called a deficit deadlift. We set up the same way, just now I have to get down much lower, keeping the bar nice and close. From here, nice flat back, and then accelerate the bar straight up, okay? Pretty short, sweet, to the point with it. Now, the next one I like to do is we put a band on the bar, so we'll slide the weight here off of our platform, and then what we do is we take a band just like so, kind of make like a U, put it just where the knurling starts, you know, we'll tuck up the band, make sure it's about even, doesn't have to be perfect. From here, you'll take your stance, you'll step onto the band. Make sure the band is on the arch of your foot, not your toes or your heel. And then from here, set up just like normal, okay? Sitting down against the bar, and then from here, we're just gonna pick it up, accelerate the bar all the way up, just like any other deadlift. But what these are gonna do is teach you to keep the bar accelerating with proper form though. So if you guys don't know proper form, definitely look at episode 1 on on the basics of the deadlift. That'll help gauge you guys on why we're doing some of these exercises here to work through those sticking points. All right, guys, so after seeing all that, you can see some of the various sticking points in the deadlift. Now, with some of those sticking points, the deadlift is a very easy lift to perform, but it's also a very easy lift to get yourself hurt in. And from what you saw and what I demonstrated, a lot of it's just being in good position. A lot of those sticking points, we'll go back to the first one. The first one being that, you know, if you're just too far in front of the bar or the weight's just too heavy, it's not coming up off of the floor. Now, with the bar coming up about half to 3/4 of the weight of the shin, you know, once again, could be cat backing, could be too far over the bar, and so on. And along with coming up about just above the knee to 1/4 of the way up the thigh, same thing. Just making sure that you're properly performing the exercise, staying in position, making sure the back is as flat as possible and you're sitting back against the bar. And then I showed you guys some of the exercises here with deficit deadlifts, standing on the bumper plate, and then the banded deadlifts, so that it's teaching you to accelerate the bar to complete lockout. Now, if you guys have any other questions, we are going to be pumping out more information on the deadlift here. I want to say probably 2 more episodes. Either way, whatever questions you guys have about it, we want to address those in episode 3 next week.